Hi, and welcome to the Thinking Out Loud podcast, a show with, we hope, meaningful conversations in English with non native speakers. My name is Jedrek,
My name is Masha,
and we are two English teachers who,
who have good taste, I think. Very ambitious
who have
today, beginning.
a good taste.
Do you think
You
we have
mean,
good taste? Do you know
you
how
mean
many people
artistically?
do you know any let's start first with our newsletter. Do you think
Good.
people open those links we recommend? Do you think somebody even
That's a very good
reads
question,
what
because
is
Substack is not actually giving me these kind of data. I think yeah, some people definitely click, I'm pretty sure about the music. I'm not sure about about other stuff.
well, music unfortunately is not our recommendation. I can say that this is something we
Yeah, exactly.
recommend.
It's Mateusz. By the way, great recommendations. Mateusz, thanks a lot for sharing this with us. I would never be able to find music that is so fresh and so cool. So
I
I
think it's a
totally
little bit
enjoy.
too cool for me. I had to read the comments and I found, the comments below the video, and I found one fantastic guy who just, who
Mhm.
just explained everything to me.
Sorry,
What the lyrics mean, what the band is about, and I was happy.
All right, all right. But you talk about everything, the
Yeah, yeah,
latest
yeah, yeah, yeah.
recommendation.
Yeah.
All right, I didn't even dive into that. I honestly I didn't even analyze the lyrics so much, except they are some kind of a earworm. That you keep singing that. Call the cops and all right.
Well, that's what I
Uh,
do now. I watch films differently. I read books differently because I understand that okay, this scene uh it's there for a reason. So I'm trying to really understand what's the reason. What is the
you
author's
have this
trying to do?
approach
Yeah,
after your course. That
not after it's
everything's
and the same with
or
the music because
all right.
every line must mean something. So I listen to the lyrics and the stuff.
Are you sure it's designed like this? I mean, are you
Well,
sure it's
songs
not
maybe not,
left
but
to,
movies definitely.
yeah, movies, I think, yeah, because you don't have time to waste, I
Books
mean,
usually,
unless
yes. I mean,
you're
your
a poor
editor will
director. But
be books the same. I mean, your editor will be really, really cruel.
you
Because
talk
if
about books published at renowned publishing houses, right? Because I think that, if you self-publish, you can write rubbish,
yeah, I mean, if you self-publish,
Yeah, yeah. So, okay,
you
great.
can write
Coming back
rubbish.
to
Cool.
Coming back, thanks. Yeah. First of all, thanks for subscribing to our newsletter, Masha. Thanks for mentioning this. I love to talk about our newsletter.
Well, what
It's
do you get any feedback? Because we are kind of as well. What is the word? Curators. So we choose some gems and offer. Well, we believe that's what we do, and offer them to people. Do you get any
um
feedback from your students? Like, do they read anything outside this the body of the
yeah.
newsletter?
Honestly, I haven't had any feedback in the sense like oh, I really loved the text you recommended, or the
Mm.
video that you included. Sorry to say that, Masha, but maybe people keep these comments to themselves. But I am
And I try so hard, I insert so many links.
all right.
And nobody follows
It's
them.
it's I think it's something that you can't really expect to um m- bring, I don't know, large scale effects. It's something that reaches to individuals, particular individuals, and I'm pretty sure they appreciate it. They click, they because there is so much of you in those links, but not even in particular links, but in the concept of inserting a link here or there. I think it's something that definitely doesn't have a large scale effect, but a small scale, and it's beautiful. It's something that that feels great. With that kind of human touch there, and this
Okay.
kind of attention. I think it's great. I think it's great, but once again, I wouldn't count on these kind of gestures bringing tremendous effects, and a flood of comments like, "Oh, thanks,
Of course,
for
no flood of. I mean,
that."
we've been online how long, and we didn't get one single comment. So I'm not counting on
Yeah, that's
flood
true.
of
That's true. I
comments.
think, and guys, I'm now turning to our listeners. Of course, the interactions are welcome. We are always waiting for it. Our email tolpodcast@hotmail.com is for you. To share your comments or opinions or whatever you like. Maybe some funny memes to include in the next issue of our newsletter. Why not?
I think if we
But
want comments, we absolutely must go back to Instagram. This is where people comment like hell.
are you sure? I mean, I'm on Instagram, and all I got is a like from time to time, but not so many comments. But I'm not sure, and once again, I'm not even, I'm not even sulking about it, that,
Oh, come
oh, we
on,
don't get
just
comments.
don't tell me you wouldn't
No,
like
it's
it.
nice. I would like, of course, to get feedback from our audience. But perhaps we should design a questionnaire or something, something like this, But all the spontaneous feedback is great, but I'm really enjoying what we're doing, I
So
mean,
you're doing it for the sake of doing it. That's it.
yeah. I think I switched to this kind of mode, it's true that perhaps somewhere early, I was hoping for, the podcast in the first place to be popular, to get a lot of listeners. But now I think I I kind of enjoy recording it for the sake of recording it, And I think it's good stuff, By the way, one of my friends who I know here in France, told me that the podcast is great, especially for learners, So check this out, Great to hear that. Masha, coming back to the taste, you asked if we have a good taste. I really doubt about it, especially when it comes to myself. When it comes to myself, because I think I'm a totally mainstream guy who listens to pop music and reads uh, pop books.
So pop
There's
music
something
is
like,
not good taste?
well, it's popular, and since it's popular, it means it's kind of mainstream. It's like it's probably um, it's probably somehow standardized, and of course, there is something like good pop music and shitty pop music, probably. But I think as long as it's pop, I think it can't be really, I don't know, a sign of exceptional taste. I don't know.
Interesting.
If you
Okay,
think about taste,
if you don't have
Mhm.
anything to add about some admin stuff, we can go to the question, because the question, of course, is about taste today. You already guessed it.
Great, let's go. Yeah, I remember in the episode with Magic, we kind of
Yeah.
hinted at this.
I
Yeah,
remember you wanted to
and
talk about
I'm
it.
really looking forward, Masha, to the questions. So yeah, let's go. Let's go.
Round one.
Well, there
What's
is
the
no
question?
even a question, it's just the question about taste. And interesting, you kind of already um, made a statement that you think that if something is popular, mainstream, there is no taste in it. Because
I
it's
mean, the
popular,
flavor.
you fall.
Imagine. Yeah. Mm, Imagine. I think mass-produced food, like factory-produced food. and it
Like
will always
McDonald's?
be. Well, it's not even McDonald's, although it may qualify. But I was more thinking about the tin cans, canned food, or frozen food, stuff or pizza or something like that.
Okay.
That is mass produced for, let's say, a mass consumer. And I think it's pretty much the same with cars and everything else. It's basically the taste of it is in the middle. It's not too salty, not too bland. It's kind of in the middle of the road. The car is, except I guess Tesla has some kind of
But why is that?
design that
Because
is.
they're aiming for good value for money, or why is that?
You mean Tesla?
No, I mean, you say it's in the middle.
The mass producers. The mass producers. I think, yeah. I mean, they don't want to scare people off. Because if it's not salty enough, well, you can add your own salt, right? If it's I think I think producing stuff that is safe, you know that's why the mass produced stuff is kind of bland. But I don't want to say that it's tasteless, because tasteless is something negative, but it's actually um neither hot nor
But I don't
cold.
know. What if you, let's say, what if I, having realized that this podcast is not going to make me rich, decide
Mhm.
to start my own canning business, because I grow veggies.
Yeah.
What if
Oh
I
yeah,
start
right.
canning
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
selling this stuff?
Hmm.
And I find a recipe that is really good, that I really like, of course, because I will be,
Hmm.
well, maybe I will ask a couple of people what they think about it. And I
Hmm.
start small. And then one day I will be very big. I will be a mass producer.
Hmm.
So my product
What would be the
will,
name of that company? Masha and Sons.
oh no, my sons will not go anywhere near it. uh, and
Okay,
son.
but
Masha and the cat
what is
and cat
what
and
is
the
your
cat.
point? What is your
The
point?
point is,
You've
I
got a
will,
good recipe. Mhm.
yes, and it's really good. Everybody likes it because I'm at the moment, small,
Mhm.
and I keep the recipe, but it will be, I will grow, 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 grow. Will it affect the quality of my product?
I think it will. It of course. Because if you switch from mm, small scale handmade production into a factory made, there is something like cost optimization. You may reduce the amount of salt because of certain norms, because of certain
Why would
um
I if it worked well when I started off?
well, that is all up to, I think, you as the owner of the enterprise.
Hmm.
And you may decide if you stick to your principles, to your values, and you never even alter one bit of that recipe, right? And so you stay true to your to your values, I think, because it ultimately comes down to values. Or since that is industrial right now production, well, you may plus I think that cooking for 5 people is totally different than cooking for 20 or 200. I'm even talking about spicing things. How do you even measure that? Imagine spicing, I know, a huge kettle, or what's the name, a pot, a huge pot. Like, sometimes I'm wondering, because if I go to the marché, a street market here, they sometimes cook that huge paella, you know that is a huge frying pan, a huge one. And say, how do you even spice this? I mean, and I see the guy is opening a box. There's like yeah, there's a carton box of salt, and he's just adding the salt, like like with a shovel. It's like, what the hell? It's not how I'm spicing
Well,
or
because you cook
seasoning
for four people.
dishes. Yeah, but I think that the scale the scale alone will alter the taste. I think,
I
unless of
don't
course you.
think so. Why would I?
Okay,
Why
so
would I mean? Imagine I have my signature dish. I know that it's good.
Mhm.
Everybody likes it. Okay, I have 5 guests. No problem. Then they bring more people. Why would I alter the recipe, thinking that okay, maybe these other 100 people don't like it as salty? I don't give a. You know, this is my.
Yeah, but then let's say you get a feedback from the market and people say, your gołąbki, Masha, what is
Yeah,
gołąbki?
yeah.
All right, great. I don't know how to explain
No,
that
no,
in
no.
English.
I was nodding to something you said before this strange word. So
Okay,
explain
yeah,
yourself.
but does gołąbki ring a bell to you? It
Go
translates as
optimal something.
pigeons. No,
No,
no.
no.
Gołąbki, you know this dish probably because it is meat and potentially rice wrapped in a leaf of cabbage.
Голубці. Голубці. Okay.
Okay, great. Gołąbki, we say that. But yeah, I was, and I guess it varies according, to culture. Some
course.
people
It varies
have it with meat,
depending on
some
the
people
woman
with
who
just
cooks it.
rice. Yeah, exactly. But what I wanted to say is that if you get feedback from the clients, from the guests, sometimes from the clients that, hey, your gołąbki or whatever, your dish is too salty or not salty enough or something, well, you may be tempted to alter it, I think.
But I
Especially
will
if that
alter it
means
even if
sales, if that translates on sales, because, you see that, let's say you took a credit, to develop your Masha and Sons enterprise. And, well, you are somehow, a hostage of the customers,
But I think
because
the best products are those products when the producers were like artists. You know what I
Mhm.
we had in our media environment there is now a lot of how should I put it, fighting in a way, because the war didn't start in 2022. The war started much
Yes.
earlier, and during this period there were a lot of artists who continued basically singing in Russian, giving concerts even. I mean, their music was sold maybe in Russia. And right now, there is a big fight. Are they true Ukrainians or even artists? And there was recently, now everybody in Ukraine is discussing it, an interview between two artists like that. And one of them was accusing another one that, all this time you were producing content in Russian. And she said that, but many people did it, many artists did it because there was a demand in the society. But I think you're not a true artist if you're just giving people what they want. A true artist doesn't care about that. You produce stuff because you cannot not to create, and very often you are the leader of the, even you should be the leader of the public opinion, whatever, and you don't just go to people and listen, they want this and this and this and I will produce this because I want money. You don't do that. And the same with products, the people who created something they truly believed in, whatever that is, and then they started getting feedback that it's not too salty, or it's it's too salty or not salty enough, and they just no, I think it's perfect, and they stuck to that. No, stuck.
This stuck, I guess.
Okay.
Whatever.
No.
This is not about English, right?
Oh no. Okay. And
But
these products are
okay.
still, yet they are unique. They're really good.
I agree 100%, except I think there is a different logic or even different economics to, let's say, again, I will use the word market, but the market of the works of art, and the market of commodities, other commodities or services that are, commercially available. I know that right now these two kind of blend because the artist wants to sell, the writer wants to sell, and of course the car producer wants to sell too. Everything is right now dictated by the markets, by sales, right?
But you
By
will
these
never
numbers. So
instill this good taste in people, this understanding of what good
yes,
taste
yes,
is, if you just keep giving them what they want. Because what do people
yes,
want at the end of the day?
yes, yes. I agree
Bread and
100%.
what is the in English? Bread and entertainment.
Bread and butter.
No,
Ah.
no. Хлеб и зрелище. Bread and entertainment. Food and entertainment.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's interesting what you say. If you look at this from the context of the algorithms, and
Yeah.
there is a great book by Kyle Chayka,
Yeah, I
the
heard about
Filter
this book
World.
and the podcast
Yeah,
he's
the
doing.
Filter World. Great. I think observations there that the filter world, which means a world that is filtered by algorithms, and these bubbles, we only get recommendations of something that's popular, not what's good, but what's popular. So if you open your
And something
Netflix,
that you showed a liking to as well.
yeah,
You will
yeah,
not go.
exactly. The algorithm is quite sophisticated, and I know their Netflix back in the days ran a competition of who can design an algorithm that will generate more clicks from our audience, And there was one company that won $1 million because they improved the algorithm by some 10% or something like that, 10% more clicks and more better alignment of the recommendations to the taste of the audience, the recipients. So
Yes, but it's again not the tech that is the problem. It's you, because if you have bad taste, you will keep getting the same shit in your recommendations. But
yeah,
if you have a good taste to begin with,
mhm.
you will get the same quality stuff.
I agree. And but where does it all start? I mean, how do you develop your taste? Because if you install Netflix and other apps, Spotify, absolutely everywhere, we've got recommendations today, and you have to somehow know better,
So
than the
how did you
algorithm.
develop your taste in the 90s, let's say, when there were no algos, no social media?
Yeah. I mean, there were the traditional media that I think did a much better job at recommending. Because there were like if there were book reviews or if there were some music albums presented in the printed press, there was an editor, somebody who was consciously choosing that. I remember listening to there was a very famous. Chart list in the Polish Radio 3, each Friday. There was,
Yeah.
I think 100 songs, and people were voting, and
Yeah.
also the host of this program was also, it wasn't like, it wasn't a chart list like in commercial radio stations, with the dance music or some kind of club music, and so on. But it was carefully selected, and once again, the host was kind of supervising this. I was
But at the
sometimes
end of the day,
wondering if
people
he wasn't
who
manipulating it.
decided
Yeah, but it was an environment of people with certain taste,
taste.
and yeah, taste, of course, but they were mutually reinforcing each other. Like, I recommend you this because I find it valuable. Oh, and I recommend you that because this is also good. And there was some kind of an environment, but it was all linked to that program, that radio program that ran once a week. And I think you could really listen to a lot of good music there. You could spend 2 hours, or I can't remember how long was the program. Yeah, I guess 2 hours with really quality music.
I
And
remember in the
that
90s,
was,
the Oscar ceremony was for me something like this.
yeah,
It used to be
yeah.
very
However,
different
it
from
has,
today.
yeah, it has somehow degenerated, if I may say so,
Yeah, now it's
into
all politics.
yeah, due to political correctness, affirmative actions, and so on. Much as these ideas are noble, but then you have the ultimate result is the Nazis designed by this Google Gemini AI artist as black people or Asians. Come on, it's like and there were Nazi soldiers or George Washington black. There was our star. Yes, for those who don't watch this on YouTube, there was a cat walking by.
Masha
Right.
and the cat.
Yeah. So I think Masha, the days before this hyper connection were slightly better moderated. There was more of good quality curation. I say good quality because curation is happening even today, of course, or even more than ever today. But everybody calls themselves a curator. There's a blogger, it's a
including
curator.
us.
Yes, including us. I mean, because we do serve this function somehow, but I will never
But at the
claim that.
beginning, you said that you're not sure we have good taste, but we call ourselves
I'm
curators.
not.
So it's a lot
I'm
of
not. I mean,
responsibility.
there is a lot of responsibility, I think. Yes, and I don't know who can actually take that role. I'm even looking at, for example, I will come back to the songs Mateusz is choosing for our newsletter. He gets these ideas from somewhere, but he's also, knowledgeable about music, and he's able to choose the right song. Something that is fresh, but at the same time, it's
It's not Lady Gaga, yeah.
yeah, it's not like Pasha. Sorry, no offense, or Iron Maiden. But I think it takes some expertise, some experience, and of course a lot of hours of listening, reading, and so on. But to claim this responsibility, I think it's something that is a huge task.
And how do you even, because there's the same tastes that differ. And
Mm-hmm.
how do you say that, okay, this is a good taste and this is just, for example, in I hate to bring this up. This is going to be very, very girly, but uh, me and my friends, we got a little drunk the other day celebrating International Women's Day, and we started, this thing came up when you are, let's say, not in your perfect shape. Let's put it like this. But you dare to wear something that really requires you to be in a good shape to look good.
More
I'm trying to be
images, Masha, because
politically correct.
you're trying to be politically. You mean like
Let's say
wearing what? Because
let's say you're fat, okay? And
okay,
you
okay,
put on something like, I don't know,
very tight.
very tight, close fitting. Yes, and
Yeah.
this, to a lot of people, this doesn't look good. So is it bad taste, or is it the person would say, this is how I express myself, you don't understand anything.
Yeah, that is it, that you never know these days. It would be called bad taste in the past,
Yeah.
but today it's you expressing your identity or your,
The same in
new.
art, I can see the
Yeah,
same.
yeah. I mean, rules are there to be broken, And what used to be, I think the notion of good taste is changing too, somehow. But on the other side, there's also kitsch that, remains kitsch no matter what, I think.
But maybe it doesn't exist even anymore, this taste thing. Because like they say, beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
The beholder.
But still, we have some standards of like the majority of people consider this to be beautiful. The same with taste. But today it's no. It's just how I see it. This is how I express myself. This is what I like. Or, there's this like is dominating, I think.
Yes, it's interesting, and mm, yeah, I'm trying right now to search my head for some clever ideas that aren't mine. That something I read
Maybe you should work
somewhere
on
about it.
generating your idea. Use this
Yeah,
time wisely.
but
20 minutes
but
we have left.
you're right. You're right. But there is also something inside of me that is conflicting with this. That I don't agree to this kind of lax rules. However, I also admit that tastes vary from culture to culture, from person to person, ultimately, and everybody has the right to have their own taste. But I think there is something like good taste and bad taste. But there are many good tastes and a lot of,
And
I
there's
guess,
only one bad taste.
there's only one bad taste, maybe, yeah. But everything really depends, When it comes to clothes, for example, I'm totally, ignorant about it, and I don't know. I'm wearing jeans and t-shirts all the time,
To be on the safe
and
side, actually, that's
to be on the safe side,
yeah.
maybe, yes.
But
Yes,
taste
but
and everything, you don't have to be like even in clothes. You don't have to be mainstream because there is mainstream, let's say, or let's call it the classics, or there is something that's I don't know, trendy now, not even trendy now, but sometimes I'm looking at a person and I see that nobody would call this person trendy or fashionable, but nobody will deny that person has a good taste in clothes.
Yeah, because there is something like classic,
No, it's not even classic. It would be maybe very, very contemporary, but how you combine stuff, how you create this a holistic, let's say, image. And sometimes the person would just put on whatever and say, this is how this is what I like, this is how I see myself. But you just see that it's being disguised, whatever. I'm trying to be politically correct, and everybody can wear whatever they
Come
want.
on, Mata, drop this correctness
This is
because
not the Oscars after all,
it's hampering communication. I mean, that's what's happened to Oscars or
I'm the police.
other places. Yeah, I know you're the police. Yeah, the moral police here. Yeah, there is this notion of a taste maker, which is, I think, slightly different than a curator, but not much. A taste maker is somebody who's giving a good example, I think, and that's how you lead others, and yeah, it's. I'll tell you what, I like listening to people who are smarter than myself. And I never claimed, for example,
Sounds
that,
like a
oh, I've
confession.
got, yeah, I mean, but I never claimed that, oh, I know better, which book is good. Or I basically, if I look at my library and the books that I have bought and that I keep buying, I think where do they come from? It's definitely not some random bloggers or something I saw, but these are basically people I trust. People or sources I trust.
What do you mean trust? You like their taste?
I like their taste, apparently. Yeah, I mean it depends, because when it comes to the nonfiction, it's different, and when it comes to fiction, it's different. I've got two different I guess ways of choosing books. With the nonfiction, I'm totally able to buy a book. Well, like like the later Super Communicators or Filterworld. These were books I think I came across in some podcasts, you know. But of course, these authors, they get invitations, of course, to the major podcasts, like All In Podcast or Bloomberg or others, and they talk about their books. This is how they sell, of course. But once again, I think that once these big podcasts invite someone, it means that this is a major work, or this is something worth checking out. But that refers to nonfiction. I have a bigger problem with fiction because with fiction, the taste is more sophisticated because nonfiction is facts, something that is kind of objective and so on. But with fiction, I don't trust so much bloggers or podcasters unless there is someone I would really like, but I think there is none. So it's different. The way I choose it is different,
I had a funny story 15 maybe years ago when there were no, pre-social media times, and you ask your friends, what have you seen? Do you recommend?
Yeah.
And we had one guy, he was brilliant, we just couldn't have a better friend because we knew that if he recommends this film, we should never, ever watch it. And it worked 100% of the time. He saved us a lot of time, It was great.
Yeah, there is a guy like this in the stock market world, It's called, I think, Jim Kramer or Kramer. I don't know how they pronounce his name, but this guy is basically picking stocks that are going to drop, the very next day. So yeah, there is something like this. Yeah, you're right, but this is also a way of kind of inverse curation,
Yeah, and with the people's recommendations, you just have to
Maciej,
try.
it's a brilliant point. I mean, to find a good taste, perhaps you should go against the grain. To swim
Maybe.
upstream. Kind of,
But if
try
you're a
and
product of mainstream, then you will find it very difficult to switch. And this is what I personally experienced. I'm now coming back to books and films, which, let's say, 15 years ago, I probably was recommended by someone smart, and I read and watched, and I was like, oh my God, what a bullshit. And now I come back to this stuff and I understand it much better.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. I know that giving the second chance to certain, books and movies and so on is sometimes worth doing. But I just wanted to come back to this idea of swimming upstream or basically against the mainstream. I think it might work. However, there's a trap that if you do everything contrary to the mainstream, you will end up being just as predictable and shaped by the mainstream as if you were actually going with it. Because being just against is not a good idea. You should be different, but not against, because being different is not the same as being against.
Yeah, but going against may be a good first step.
It's a good first step, yeah, to kind of search for an alternative, right? But
and today this mainstream is actually doing itself a disservice. I'm talking about even films, even your average, let's say, product of mainstream, they are already fed up with these cookie cutter films. There's another Godzilla, another King Kong, whoever's with stunning
Fast and
visual
Furious.
effects, but people are already even. I've read that there's a very interesting article about. It was like about Dune second part, but not only. It said that there were a couple of films this year which kind of give us hope that the tide will turn, because when you watch these blockbuster mainstream films, you don't see even a director behind this film. There's no personality. But films like Dune, like the Scorsese film, the latest with
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
DiCaprio,
mm-hmm,
and surprisingly, Maverick, Top Gun Maverick. What I like
mm-hmm.
about this movie, it has this vibe of the 90s with very good, tech, which is available today. But the
Mm-hmm,
spirit
mm-hmm.
of that day, when you have, you watch the film and you can say, okay, this is this director, this director.
And you are
And
not
now
the
it's
first
all,
person recommending it. I think I should finally try and watch this, you know.
well, if you were a fan of the movies of that
I
time,
was, I was, yeah. Except, I'm not into movies so much these
yeah,
days. But maybe, Masha, this is one of the reasons. Is that these
yeah,
movies are
it's
so
very,
generic. They
yes,
are so generic, like you say. They are, okay. They may provide a few minutes of excitement and wow, it's cool, but then you forget about it. They
yeah.
never even stick in your memory, So basically, what and this is also what Chayka was writing about in the filter world, that there's so much content today, like never before, so much, and yet, you watch it, and you binge watch it, the whole night or a few nights in a row, and then after 1 week, you don't even remember what was it about, what was I so excited about, because there is so much content, and this content is kind of generic. It's kind of, you don't even know if it was that series or the other series, or where did I see it.
This is why
And
I'm worried about the newsletter.
mhm.
What if we don't have a good taste if we're just producing the same content that everybody is producing?
Yeah, but Masha, our responsibility is, I guess, much lower than the Hollywood or Netflix studios.
But we have, however, there's a handful of people, and this is our
Yeah,
responsibility to these people, because
and
the
I'm
most precious thing in anybody's life is time. And what we are doing, we are
yeah.
maybe stealing these people's time.
And yeah, you're right. You're right. This is a responsibility, but the way I see it, when I write my text and so on, I'm putting my heart into it, and this is me. This is me writing. It's not ChatGPT. It's not, I make sure it's an original text. It's something that perhaps is showing a little bit of my personality and so on. And I think as long as I'm feeling like this, and I feel that, okay, I may not be the best writer out there, both technically and stylistically, whatever, but at the same time, I think so far I have been genuine. It is me, writing, and not some, I don't know, machine. And I think that as long as it stays like that, it's it has a good effect, on people. I hope.
That's a very low bar, the genuine. What about meaningful, original?
Yeah, I mean, I do care about it, but then again, I'm not. I don't know if this is an excuse, Masha, or not. But I'm not a professional writer. I still learn how to write. To me, it's a new form of creativity. That to write something each fortnight, to express a little bit of what I feel, and I may get better at this, but there's also a risk that if you become a serial producer of content, let's say, although that sounds like a porn star from OnlyFans, it's a producer of content. But if you do it regularly, like columnists do, in various publications, then I think you may also fall into this trap of, the routine, and just do it, because you have to do it and so on. I wouldn't like this to happen to me. But
Because you see that it's been, what, 8 weeks, that
mhm,
sometimes you really feel passionate about something, you really want to write something, and sometimes you have
mhm.
to do it because it's your
Yeah,
turn.
yeah,
And
exactly. But I remember my conversation with Maciek before we started, this phrase of the week, this column, let's call it. And I told Maciek, because Maciek was like, okay, what should I choose, and he had some ideas, and I told him, you pick whatever you want. You're the captain. But if I may advise anything, I would say do it from your personal experience, because this is the best. There are so many phrases to choose, right? I mean, open the dictionary, you can choose any phrase. So how do you select which phrase ends up in the phrase of the week? Well, it has to be you basically there, and not the phrase that is important. It is you, Maciek, who is having this kind of life and that kind of situations, in his life. And this is how you deliver the best content possible. It is actually about Maciek. It's not about so much the phrase of the week. I think it's how I see good quality entry. I don't want to say blog entry. It's not a blog entry maybe, but yeah, it's a good quality entry when it's you. Actually, it's this phrase of the week is about you, and people like Maciek because he's selecting these phrases, but these phrases, they are actually his life, and I think it's great. This
So you
is
don't
how you
have to
create.
worry about you possibly not having a good taste.
Well, in the case of the phrase of the week, I think,
In the case of anything, the phrase of
yeah,
the week
but
is not so much different from the text you
I
read.
I'm willing to say that this good taste, as long as it's aligned with your heart, it will be good. But I mean, not just you think that, oh, this should be good, but as long as it's you. And I always say that the best content is inside of ourselves. If we really search for it, this is where you find the best ideas, the best content, and it's going to be good quality. Trust me.
I even hate the
And
word content,
yeah, sorry for that, but the best materials, the best stuff is inside, not outside. So you don't try to pretend, to be even, to be a curator, to be someone who knows better, because no one knows better, really, unless you are Buddha or some kind of a guru. But what we can do, I mean, ordinary people can do, is just to trust our feelings and the real ones that are not really dictated by some external sources. And this is very hard. Listening to yourself is very, very hard, and these days harder than ever, with so much cacophony coming from each corner of our existence. Meaning
from
smartphones
people
mostly.
to people. Yeah.
Yes.
No.
All right. Great.
Connecting people.
Yeah, much of this conversation is great. I mean, and the concept of taste. I mean, we would definitely need maybe 3 more episodes,
To be
to
continued.
even to even scratch the surface, because it's very, very interesting, the way how taste appears, how it's formed, how it's shaped, how it grows,
And changes.
And changes. Yeah, it's fantastic. Remember that, I mean, just one last thought, maybe teenagers usually rebel, against, they listen to some niche music. I mean, some of them, but, they will go into heavy metal stuff, and so on. And then with age, when you mature, your taste becomes a little bit more, how to say
Calm.
that, calm. But it doesn't mean necessarily that it become that you lose your taste. It's just, you see different things in even ordinary stuff, or even in the mainstream, even in pop music. You can see some, quality. You can see some, like you said, that there is something for a reason. You start interpreting that. You see more detail, I think. This is
Because
what
you
makes, the
experience
whole discussion of
extremes.
taste. Yeah. Yes, exactly. You've been there, you've done that, and now you are back and you're happy with your Taylor Swift, enjoying her, masterpieces, in a way, pop music masterpieces.
She's the person of the year.
She's the person of the year. Who are we to
After all.
argue with that?
Yeah.
All right, great. Masha, thanks so much for this conversation. how about going into the sacramental part of our podcast?
There's so much pressure. I feel so much pressure, every time. Okay, thank you everyone for staying with us. Oh, now you can sip your tea. That's why it's my phrase that you can finally sip your tea.
Oh yeah, now I'm parched.
Oh, yeah. So thanks everyone. And this was another episode of the Thinking Out Loud podcast. Stay tuned for the next one. Bye.
Bye bye.
Say bye.